Thank you very much, first, everybody, for inviting me here, Žarko. And it is a great honor and pleasure to be here with you. I do know that it is not so easy to be presenting the last one in a row of very good speakers, and that you might be waiting for the coffee break. So I will try to shorten as much as possible and to bring a little bit a different perspective from those things that we have heard already and which are very precious. So let me present the thinking of an internal department, internal training center that has been developed in the Croatian Radio Television. I've been there. Let me present myself. My name is Nela Gudelj, and I'm the chief of the training unit, which was born like 10 years ago. So we are very young in a way, not myself because I entered there 10 years ago. And I was astonished that such a, let's say, traditional and very old institution like a public radio and television didn't have any internal system for training, for whole life training and developing of its professionals. And it's a very big institution, and it was very hard to start it, make it a system, and we are still doing it. So I'm very active also in the Eurovision Broadcasting Union, and I'm a member of the steering committee of the Eurovision Academy. So I'm trying to, best fit best practices and from the public service network from Europe, and to make it live and adapt to our processes. And as well, I preside the HR steering committee from the Eurovision Broadcasting Union, so that this connection with the human resources and the whole life training, especially in the fast-moving media industry, is very much needed. It's a very complex thing and not so easy, but therefore comes the challenge and the beauty of it. So the mission, I don't want to bother you with very long sentences. I put it short. So we do know what public service broadcasters should be doing in all of our countries and why they are needed. So the serving is its principal goal and mission, and high quality programs which would inform, educate and entertain. So we have here the education as a very important pillar in a mission of every public broadcaster in every country. The goal of the Croatian Radio Television, because it didn't change for decades, it's to become a functional integrated multimedia organization, which is something that very many people didn't understand when we started talking about it. So it's got to do with skills and a lot more comprehensive view of how things evolve in the media market, and with fully digitized archives, improved production business processes, so it's all linked. It should be delivering dynamic, high-quality program to our audience to judge of it, and all the platforms are very important to mention here, because I will come to the skills needed for the production of high-quality programs for these platforms, and as well to encourage personnel and technological development, to foster it, to adopt it, to adapt it. Challenges that are being put in front of every public broadcaster in any country, not only Croatia, is to produce more of high-quality content with less manpower. So I sound like sort of too much economics or biased or scary, but it is the reality. To adapt to new technologies and multiply skills. So we have to talk about skills here, so how to bridge these gaps from mono to bi to tri to multimedia skills. So these are all the terms that we have to embrace, to understand, and to introduce into our working processes, into our training programs. Nothing is anymore the same. I do think that they know better. So we have to really face the reality of digital natives. And these reality, I do hope that you have already seen such a slide. I think that the data on it have changed drastically since I last had a glance on them. So what happens in an internet minute is the reality we are all facing in whatever we do, especially related to the media business. And we have to acknowledge this and to take care of it and pay attention to it. What I wanted to mention here, so how much the number of networked devices is growing at such an amazing speed, and how many new platforms are being developed every minute or every day, and how fast, the question is, how fast can we adapt to that? And is this a marathon that we are going to win, or can we compete with that? What I wanted to point out here is the transformation of the public television in Croatia. So it was the outdated organization per media. I do hope that you understand the point. So it was like in silos. The production was organized in silos per platform, like radio, with a very clear division. We don't want to talk to the television people. And then the television, we don't want to talk to these talkative radio people. And there was no connecting link in between. And then the new media department emerged. The new media department is not anymore new media department, which tried to introduce some web. So this is way outdated. And the new organization was created like last year, following the best practices in Europe. And it focused on the way we produce. So this is the program production technology business affair and then some kind of administrative support. But production and technology do have to merge together and do have to produce for all platforms and to deliver the contents for the program. That's, there is a very complex vertical organization standing, it's not that simple, because there are 3,200 people right now working in all that structure, which is very complex, but I didn't really want to bother you with it. What skills for new age then? That was introduced, we started doing it, and there is a complex business model behind it. But what skills are needed in terms of a good journalist? Our colleagues from TV students do know that. So these are new potential youth forces coming to enrich our personnel forces at Croatian Radio Television. But does it really have to look like this? Can you seize the challenges which are being placed in front of a journalist which really used to work just with his text or her text or something like that, and has now to shoot for himself or herself, to edit, to think of the speed, to be first, and to be to stick to the qualities of being of what he has or she produced. So is this mission impossible? I don't think so. So it is not that complicated. So what is digital? I wanted to address digital from the point of view of a broadcaster. Do we agree that what digital really means? I've heard a lot about a lot of techniques and modules and everything, how to seize that, how to cope with that. But have you ever tried to define what digital is in terms of giving to the digital qualities of a being? So digital is living and evolving and limitless. Would you agree to that? Is it evolving all the time and living, some kind of an organism?
Yeah, it's ubiquitous.
Yeah, is it limitless from the standing point of us trying to see it at least, I don't know, in years ahead of us? So that's about digital news as well. So what is news? This is information on what is going on around us, and then the world also is living, right? So we have to pack the information, the news, into the digital package, and it is constantly what? Because the life around us is like that, updated, right? Changed, moved, developed, ongoing conversation and collaboration. I've got here a very interesting quote coming from the CEO of Twitter, when he compared the most recent developments in the digital world and social networks and the web ecosystem to coming back to the qualities of the narrative before the Gutenberg age. Because we with the Gutenberg era, the news was fixed in a fixed format to the previous storytellers that came from the folks. So the Twitter, in a way, and Facebook conversations that we are facing, the source of the news, one of the very important sources of the news, if filtered with responsibility, are coming back to the gossip and the storytelling of the old ages. So that was said by CEO of Twitter. You might agree with that or not, but I found it interesting. That's what every journalist in a public television or any other television should be aware of. We live not only with this digital thing that we try to define, but we live also and work with the open web. Let's come back to all the tools to build interaction with, I would barely say it, former audience, because our audience is there. But do we still call it audience, or do we try to make out of our audience participation, creating, helping us create the content? So the model, New Era Journalist, is a part of this web ecosystem and puts the reader, listener, viewer, the former audience in the heart of his or her creation and lets him or her participate. What about how to connect content and technology? So how to produce impactful and innovative journalism, digital journalism. Everybody in the production chain, I'm going to use this boring terminology again, have to work together in order to be able to deliver anything in such ecosystems, to create quality content for all the platforms that will engage audience. For job descriptions, they overlap. That's why it's very difficult to find a proper curriculum in any of the universities that would fix the job description, the job position in a fast evolving landscape. That's what Mislav said makes sense to us. So I have to connect to his slide. Then we would like to certify and to ask for a particular building block of a curricula to make it relevant for what we need. And multi-competencies do count. Innovation comes from collaboration. That's how we should think of collaborative approach in between employers and in between training institutions, whatever university, wherever they are and whatever sector they cover, in order to make curricula that will suit us. I would just try to face you with this data. Did you know that? Would you agree to that? That news older than 10 seconds is old news now? Are we very impatient when we try to click on something and then it doesn't come up to the screen in 3 seconds time? The times have really long gone, long past since my mother waited for the 1930 news. And the Croatian Radio Television is still not aware of it. 1730 news is old news. Twitter topped 200 million users. I might be having the wrong data. I think it's higher. It's up there. So we cannot ignore the fact that this is the reality. Regarding the age of the platform, I mentioned platforms. There are very many platforms. And before deciding what comes first in digital, media outlets must figure out right production workflows. This is what we do. At the same time, we are trying to figure the best training model, but at the same time, we are producing it. And at the same time, we have to do the operational daily tasks in order to feed our audience with the programs they deserve, because we do work for them. That is a very tough task for the internal training system. I would skip to this because I don't think I have got enough time, because I wanted to share some journalistic point of view. I would just ask you, try to interact with you before ending the presentation. Do you think what is easier, to run a training department or a training institution outside the production company? So we are inside. And our advantage is that we live the production processes. So we can see the best what's needed. But to deliver the training and to have our participants participate to the training courses and to try to find something that fits best them is a very difficult challenge. What I mean is, when I want to inscribe myself to a course that is offered by any training institution, then I will, plan it, define the course, give some money to it, and I will inscribe myself there, and they will be waiting for me. How is it difficult to have it organized in a very fast-moving organization is a challenge you might be aware of or not. I will have a discussion with you then later on if you want to. This is a topic that I would like to hear some advice, if you do have any. What are our challenges? We do have to think of the new skills for the age of the platforms. Platforms like radio, television, web, all of them interconnected. So one content has to be distributed on all the platforms, not all at the same time. Editorial, then head, decides. We have to be aware of the way the platform functions. New positions in this work chain continuously merge and evolve and they reflect changes, how news is produced and consumed. That demands for us a digital-first curriculum. So we do not have that one. But that curriculum should teach modern journalism, but also, and reflect the future of the media, not the past, but also should never forget what we have to do it. How is it to be done? Reliable. We have to deliver reliable information, high quality, impartial. It doesn't matter on what platform it is published. The new Converge Newsrooms, you have heard of it. So what is a Converge Newsroom anywhere in more advanced public broadcasters? So I visited the BBCs. It's quite amazing. We are in the process of creating one at Croatian Radio Television on the next square, Televizijski trg. Those who are from Croatia, they do know what I'm talking about. So where the coffees have been served for decades, it is going to become this Converged Newsroom pretty soon next year. But can you imagine working in such an ambience? It comes to collaboration then, deciding on who does what, knowing who does what. It is a seeming chaos, but it is a well-organized structure, and everybody understands what his neighbor is doing and helps his neighbor. So we have to think of such a curriculum that will help us achieve that. Whole life learning in a modern media house is a must. I know that. How can we at all deliver it in such a moving context? On-the-job training, we provide that. Constantly developing new workflows, which is quite a challenge. Out of these workflows also come new competencies that we spot out as needed. So we have also the vice versa approach. We do know in advance that these competencies are needed, but some of these we do really find out while working out our new workflows. So learning from the best among peers, it's a championship model we started implementing. Among peers, I mean in the institution. Learning from the best in industry. and doing a constant benchmarking, learning from the specialized training providers that we come from a specific brick in this building, the bricks that Mislav mentioned, and put it very carefully into somebody's profile because it's needed for us. Becoming a digitally taught, if not digital native, is a very big issue because we have got also, we are bound by legislation. Everybody here, we didn't mention it, nobody mentioned, yeah, it's the labor law. And then we cannot get rid of old people and put on board the new ones with new competencies. So taking on board digitally natives is not that easy. I'm just going to the last slide. We are trying to constantly update internal curricula, to continuously do the workforce renewal and going to the Generation Y, but we do need youth employability programs, so I'm asking for the cooperation of building such a project together with us, and developing closer cooperation with training providers, just to to bridge the gaps, existing gaps, which we see still very, very big in between us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nela.
It's not so easy to be the last, so I'm seeing you nervous, so that makes me nervous.
I'm sorry for rushing you.
So
your moderator did a poor job, so we are much behind the schedule, and therefore we will ask the questions to Nela